size pipe is this? Anybody know?
Looks like a
Half inch.
half
What kind of pipe is it?
black
Black
pipe.
steel. What we use black steel for?
Natural gas, air.
Natural gas and air. That's just a helper. Oh, it's a pipe stand, what they would call it. Alright. So, what are the 4 steps to thread the steel pipe?
Cut. Cut.
What you gotta do before you do any of that? Measure. There you go. Alright, when you order steel pipe from the supply house, you're gonna get 21-foot lengths, and it will be threaded and coupled. What it means is they got both ends threaded, and one end has a coupling in. Alright, so you should never have to order couplings unless, you know, you end up using all 21 feet every time. So, you got threaded and coupled, alright? So we measure first, then we cut, then we ream, and then we thread, alright? Through the threading process, we need to oil as we go. That helps to cut the steel, it helps lubricate the cutters themselves, and reduces wear on our dies themselves.
Manual like
It is a manual pipe threader. What's another name for it?
that.
Well, they gave it another name the other day. Had a picture on the board and everything. Anything particular that looks like?
Oh, that's the through a try.
Tri-head die.
Try.
Tri-head die threader.
No,
Y'all gonna have to get quicker on him. Or smack him or something, I don't know.
I think we should smack them.
yeah.
This is who we should smack right here. Yeah, that right there.
Alright, so it's a tri-head die, alright? Very useful, so you don't have to carry a whole box full of stuff. Uses our most common sizes when we're threading steel pipe, half, 3/4, and 1 inch, okay? That's probably the most common in residential, or any kind of gas service. You may get into some larger lines when you've got multiple gas services going on. If you got a full house, you may start out with 1.5 or even 1.25, 1.5 feed before you start branching off. But then you branch down to these 3 sizes. So it can come in really handy because it does have all 3 sides on it. The opposite side corresponds with the pipe size, so you would always place your pipe through the opposite of what you're going to be threading. Alright, that's for stability, keep it lined up straight. All dies have 4 teeth. I don't think there's any that's got more than 4. No. And they are in sequence. Alright, when you replace the die teeth themselves, you want to make sure they go back in the same sequence, or otherwise you may never get that pipe threaded. Because we are threading, we've got to have the number 1 tooth start and go in succession. We're doing right-handed threads. They do make some left, but typically we don't ever see no left-handed threads. And that we do have a machine that we'll demonstrate later that cannot do left-handed threads because the machine screwed up. But it's just the way it's made. It's a newer machine, so that it cannot do left-handed threads. We could do left-handed threads with some of these others with the right dies. Alright, so. What's this?
Pipe cutter.
Pipe cutter. Good.
See, we beat Jason to that.
He was quiet over there, he whispered it.
No, I didn't say cutter, I said cutter.
Oh, so you don't even know what kind of cutter it is, see?
No, I don't.
So it is a pipe cutter. Mainly because of its size and the material we're using it on. When we're talking about copper, we're talking about a tubing cutter. Talking about steel, we're talking about a pipe cutter. Okay. When we cut steel pipe and copper pipe, I'll repeat myself when I'm doing this, but we're not actually removing any material. We're displacing material. So we can get an accurate cut without having to worry about losing any material. Once we made our mark, we put our pipe cutter on, tighten it up, we do a couple revolutions, tighten as we go. Don't want to over tighten because we don't want to damage our cutter wheel. Our pipe cutter has one cutting wheel and two guide rollers. Now I think it said adjusting nut or adjusting screw. So we want to, and then we will feel that it's doing its job and cut the pipe off. Easy. All right. So I've measured it, I've cut it. Now what?
Ream it.
Ream it. This is a reamer. It does have a selector switch, which will make it go backwards. So you want to make sure you've got it in the ream position, pointed towards the handle. This is a concentric groove reamer, means it cuts in only one direction and the grooves kind of go in. So it's going to want to pull into the pipe, so we want to be careful that we don't go too far. If you felt in there when you go to cut, you'll feel that burr. What we want to do is remove that burr. We don't want to chamfer the pipe too much, but we just want to remove that burr, remove that obstruction. Okay? If you would stand on the back side. All right, put a little pressure. I normally put this against my hip. You can see it start peeling away the steel. Still got a little bit of a burr. Once you get used to what it looks like, you'll be able to pull out and not have a burr. All right. Our power threader actually has 4 cutting teeth in a straight pattern, and we use the force and the power of the machine in order to read it that way. Now what do we do? We thread it. So using a tri-head, we find our 1/2-inch thread or a 1/2-inch pipe. They'll be marked on the top, 1 inch, 3/4, or we could go around to the smallest size and slide our pipe through. Okay. Now, some people will say go ahead and lube. I want to get started first. So put a little pressure, make sure all 4 teeth are hitting at the same time. Start tightening. Just like a propeller. And as we start chewing at it, this one worked pretty good. It actually started. Oil, and you can have somebody beside you to oil periodically. Kind of hit down through the square hole. Slide that under to catch the oil.
There we go.
It's too much manual labor in this class. What happened to the pipe machine? The pipe thread machine?
You get to that, you gotta learn how to do this. Might not always have power. Hey.
Right.
Oh,
All right. We know we're at the end when the end of the pipe is at the end of the die. Okay? So once you get to there, just the process of backing it back in. I'll give you a and there it is. Easy, right? Okay. Now, process is the same with our ratcheting die head. Ratcheting die head can accept multiple sizes for multiple size pipes. Really large? That's a 2-inch. Yep, 2-inch. 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch. Now, you see you've got a locking. If you open it up, should drop right in. All right. We're in thread position when it's away from the handle. Again, we're gonna insert the pipe from the back side and ratchet instead of having to twist the whole thing around. Okay? So, I want each one of you to, since we've got all that pipe together, measure off 10 feet, cut, and thread the end, then the next person, and cut, you cut, ream, thread with the tri-head, and then thread with the ratchet, alright? So, we got lots of pipe, and the bent piece, we'll just take that bent section out. Easy enough?
yes, sir.
Alright. Everybody have fun. I will.
Take.
It's crazy, Debbie.
Good. Want to bring it up here? Bring the roller now up here? Well, we gotta.
He's ready.
Put it in the.
Yeah.
Undo it.
Don't you need to flip it over to the other side?
Turn the cutter.
Yeah. Flip it to the other side.
I got burnt Sunday and I'm getting ready to peel.
Well, gotta go in there. In between the rollers. Nope. Take cutter down. In between those two rollers.
Won't you flip it the other way where the handle's towards you? It's always easy when you're just watching.
You started. Nope.
There's an agreement.
I had that question on a quiz one day, and, I said, what are the 3 steps to thread steel pipe? Cut, ream, and thread,
Nope, you don't need that.
and,
Just put some pressure on it, and just ratchet. There you go.
and, he didn't put cut. He said, well, of course you gotta cut it, that's an unfair question. I said, I told you, you only gave me 2 steps, how's that an unfair question? This guy was not cut out to do anything. You wanna see a little chamfer, but you don't wanna make the pipe sharp by reaming. Put a little more pressure to it. You see any steel roll out yet?
There was some.
A little bit.
On some larger diameter, it will pull itself in, and you've gotta basically put it in reverse to get it back out.
I think you might have it.
Pretty much gone. Maybe just a hair.
I still feel a burr inside. If they come out, right?
No, that's good enough. It is a slight depression, but it's not anything that's gonna come loose later. And again, this is a pressure line, so we're not worried about any obstruction of fluids or solids. On this one, kind of, yeah, you can put your palm against that die, there you go, and that way you can feel it get square or not.
Are you started?
Yeah. We'll on there.
Well, you gotta stop me.
Oh, you can take your hand off.
There, go around a little bit more. Put that square on top. Right
Square on
there.
top.
There you go. Did I get it
You don't
in there?
need, if it started, you
You
don't
got
need
the
your
hole,
hand.
you can use the pipe. There you go.
I was too far out.
You can take your hand off the die.
Gonna feed itself. There you go.
Now you may, instead of, you're kind of working against yourself, let it go. What you may try to do when you're using a ratchet,
I wanna go
just-
down.
Just Yeah.
There you go, what's the range of, range of
Yeah.
stuff you wanna try to wrap.
Yeah,
Like
just
10 to
whatever's
2,
comfortable, yeah, it's,
9 to 3,
well,
or
whatever's comfortable to you,
12,
you know,
looks like,
you-
looks like 12 to 3 or something like
Yeah.
that.
yeah, well,
2 to
1 to 4. But you know, as you get farther in, it might be feeling harder, so you may not wanna go all the way up to 1.
I can't hold it, yeah.
Not gonna be like necessarily need a big range,
No.
range, smaller range, quicker motion.
Yeah. And then stop when the dies are at the end of the box. And then they would, sometimes you might have a set that has what's called a ring gauge. It'll be a small ring that you can actually spin on it, to tell you if you threaded enough or not threaded enough.
What was it, 3.5 turns usually?
2.5 to 3. If you use a regular fitting, it's 2.5 to 3 turns. If you use the ring gauge, then it should be
Alright, is that
within a thread